Please click the subscribe button and the notification icon. It will help us a lot.
I would definitely say my perceived failure was when I first moved to LA for a job in comics, and then I got laid off, and it was a few months after that where I realized, oh, even though I signed up for a temp job at other places and I was freelancing and doing all this, it still wasn't enough to remain in LA because it was just so expensive and I would have to move. And that was really devastating for me because I took it as my career is over. If I'm not in LA, then I'm not going to be an artist, and that's just not true. I eventually found a job in North Carolina working as an animator for children's games. We were developing children's games for kids who had autism, for kids who had other learning disabilities. And that was such a great experience. I moved cross country because I was born and bred in California, right? I never really lived in another state for an extended period of time. I was in Georgia for school, but that just felt like its own bubble. Rather, I didn't consider myself really living there. I was going there for studies. And in North Carolina, I was there for about 3 years. And yeah, I met a ton of new people, many different artists in the industry. And I feel like just the fact that I was in a new place that was so out far of the perceived realm of what I wanted to do, it gave me the time to really decide, okay, well, what do you want to do? Because now I've realized, okay, I'm in a situation where I'm not at a studio that I thought would be the studio I would be at, right? I'm not working full-time in comics right now. So, and I'm still alive. Like I've survived, because you always think I feel like for me at least, I've always felt so dramatic about it, because if I'm not at this point that and I haven't achieved this goal at the time that I thought that I would achieve it, that means that everything is over and everything is ruined. And here I was, not doing what I initially thought I would, and I had survived. And it really just gave me the time to recollect myself and have that conversation of, okay, well, what is it that you want to do? Because now all of the possibilities are endless. You could continue to be an independent artist. You can leave your job and move to a different state, maybe even a different country. I don't know. And eventually I was able to develop a career working in comics. And I was able to leave my full-time job and eventually move back to LA. And also living in North Carolina, it was so incredibly cheap. I mean, I was able to save up money for that return trip to LA. So, and I'm a really big champion of, I love to champion the idea of making, what's the phrase I'm looking for? Making concise risks, right? Like planned risks. So if I wanted to move back to LA, even though I didn't have a full-time job, I wanted to make sure that I had everything else in line. So I had freelance gigs lined up, right? I had money saved so I could stay there and hopefully things would work out. And because of that, because it was my second time around moving back to LA, I knew how much money I needed, right? And I knew who I would, what events I would need to go to try to make more connections. And this second time around, I would be more active on social media and have more of a presence, right? And that was the time when I was living in LA with just a prayer, basically, that I eventually got a call from DreamWorks Television to work there full time, right? So, and I cried when I got that call because it was such a journey getting there. And I would never have gotten there if, and all of this that we've been talking about today really pulls it together, because the person who initially introduced me to my future art director was someone that I worked with from college, right? I would never have even met both of them if I wasn't at CTN, the Creative Talent Network. I'd been going to that convention for years, every November, just hoping that one day my art would be good enough to get me hired, and I would meet the right people to get hired, right? And the art director, Peter Emmerich, would never have seen my work if I wasn't at CTN having participating in a showcase at that time. So all of this stuff really just like combined, and it was the right place, right time. So that was definitely a moment where I'm like telling my whole life story, sorry. But yeah, that was definitely when I first got laid off, I thought everything was over. And then when you realize that that's just a segue, you know, that's just a misstep, now you can start planning for your success. And just being open to anything that comes your way is incredibly important.